It was sort of all hands to the pump really. As soon as that call came out, the police station sort of burst into life. Everybody, because we had 2 shifts, the late turn and the night duty were present. Everybody was changing over, so everybody just got into any police vehicle that would work, and off we went. Everyone went. We stopped by the War Memorial in Borough High Street, which is outside the Slug and Lettuce pub, and then we ran up the road in front of us towards Borough Market, which is on the junction with Southwark Street. As we got there, there were, I'd say, about 3 or 4 armed officers who were already on scene at the entrance to the market, and somebody asked me to put in a cordon with my team to stop members of the public going in, which seemed like a sensible thing to do. So as I was starting to arrange that, that's when I heard quite a large amount of gunfire from literally just over our shoulder around the corner in the market. It was almost pandemonium, you know. People were running. I could see somebody was injured on the floor by the pub on the corner. I was fortunate in that I had a police medic on board, so I called the medic and I instructed him to go over to the entrance to a bar called Cats and Jammers on Southwark Street, and set up sort of a triage there with his equipment. At that point, there were still lots and lots of shots ringing out. I didn't know whether they were our chaps, or the bad guys. The casualty that was on the floor, there was a police car parked in front of it, and I called to the driver of that vehicle, got him to get that casualty in the car and drive him away, as that seemed the sensible thing to do at that time. And then we opened the doors to the pub. I wanted to get the medic downstairs and use the basement of the pub, because I know the pub quite well, as somewhere where we could triage casualties and also get people out under hard cover, and most of my team under hard cover as well, because at that point I didn't know where the gunfire was coming from or what was happening really. A gentleman had been stabbed in the stomach. He was taken downstairs to see the medic, and at that point there were still shots ringing out, and then a stream of people came out of the market running and screaming. So we literally just pushed them into the basement of the pub. I knew it was quite a big venue, and it seemed like the safest place to put a large volume of people at that time, so it was out of harm's way. They were pushed down into the basement, and that way I could get the medic to triage people who were injured. I then went back inside the bar. There were a lot of frightened people inside, a lot of people in the basement, and I spoke to them, because at that point I knew there were a couple of armed officers outside at the front of the place, and I told them that everything was okay, they were safe at the time, and that we had armed police outside. It just all happened so quickly, and you know, I've been a police officer for 18 years, and it just all happened automatically really. There was no thought process going on. It just, in hindsight, it all seems very surreal really. Thinking back to it, it almost feels like it wasn't real. When people came running out of the market, it was very panicky, and people were running, people falling over. But when I went downstairs into the restaurant, everyone was quite calm. I mean, they looked frightened, but they were quite calm. And at that point, when I spoke to them and I explained, you know, they were safe, we were going to get them out, we had armed officers there, and actually I got a big cheer. So I think people were calm in the restaurant, and everyone behaved really well and helped each other.